Right now, I will continue to the next topic. The next topic is about cookies and session. Okay, so cookies is not the something that you can eat in the website. Cookies is the data, is the value that server send and implements on the client computer. So cookies is the file, is a small file that will be saved in our browser usually. Cookie small file generally less than 100 bytes, so they will not affect browsing speed because it is so small. It's a small file, so it can affect your browsing speed. Usually, sorry. Usually, in our browser, there must be setting for cookies and session, and you can also delete the cookies in your website. So cookies hold information related to user. It's useful for make it easier for users, such as remembering the user every time they visit the same website. So for example, when you open your browser, for example, Google Chrome, maybe in your handphone, and you are doing some searching in your Google page, and you close your browser. But when you open again your browser, the same page will be loaded. Actually, it's not the loading again, but usually it is the cookies. So it won't be reload again, but it will be reload the data from the browser, the data that have been saved by the browser. That's a small file actually. So that's like the cookies. Cookies usually create when your browser website visit a website that use cookies to keep track of your movement within the site. Have you resumed where you left out? Remember your register login, time selection, preference, and other customization function. Usually, cookies used for like the what can I say? Shopping cart. Shopping cart, yes. When you are doing shopping in some e-commerce, usually you can add what the item that you want to buy, something like this, and what many of the item. And when you close your website and you open again that website, is still safe in your handphone or maybe in your browser. It also using cookies. There are two types of cookies. The first is session cookies. Session cookies is shopping cart, like I say before, temporary cookies and will disappear when the user closes browser. Session cookies are usually used in shopping cart feature on online shopping site. So when actually it not really delete when you close the browser, but when you log out from that browser, uh, or you have using another account to log it, it will be deleted or it will be replaced with that user data. So that the session cookies, it's combined with the cookies and the session that usually it used for login. So it customized when you already log in the system. And the second is persistent cookies. It's cookies that permanently store on the computer until user decide to delete them. Persistent cookies are generally used in the Remember Me feature when logging. For example, maybe you have Facebook. When you log in your Facebook and you not click log out, your data, uh, your user data or your account data will be saved. And when you open again Facebook, you don't need to log in again because your data is still saved in the cookies. That's an example of persistent cookies. And the for session cookies, it can be gone. So for the sometimes it can be gone, but for persistent cookies, it not will be deleted until the user want to delete it. For example, if you have login in your Facebook, when you are not logged out, your cookies still saved in that browser. So to delete it, you need to log out first. Okay, so this is cookies in PHP. We can make a cookies in PHP so your data can be saved in your browser. For using cookies, we must using default function, which is set cookie. So set cookie is for creating the cookies in your website. Okay, cookies must be declared before the page is displayed. So why when you open again your browser, your data, you don't need to reload it again, or your data from the previous season is still there because it load before the HTML written. So you must put the set cookie before the HTML tag or it in the most upper part of your file website file. Okay, this is the function set cookie. We also have name, value, and expire. So name is the name of the cookie and the value is the value of the cookie that you have defined the name. It's like the variable. You have variable name and the variable value. It also same for the cookies. You have name and the value. And then it has the expire here. So expire is the period of time the cookie will be stored on your computer. So when the time already expired, it can be deleted automatically from your browser. Okay, and after we create the cookies, we can also get the data, or we can also get the value from that cookies. We are using something like this cookie, and then inside is the name of the cookies. Okay, so I will give you some example for the cookies. So this is the example of making cookies. After this, you can add HTML like this and some script here. So it must be in the upper part of your file. This is set cookies. And this is the name of the cookie. So the name of the cookies is user and the value is Polynema. And we have the expired time. The expired time, we make it like this time plus, and this is the time in the second. So if I write 3,600 here, so it's mean 3,600 second, or it will be 1 hour, I think. It's 1 hour. So after 1 hour, it will be gone. It will be deleted automatically. But if you want your cookies is persistent, you can make it empty, I think. So it will be saved for the long time. And after you create the cookies, you can call the cookies like this. So it's similar with how you get the data from the form, like we are using post, get, something like that, but we are using cookie here. So for getting the value, we are using dollar underscore and cookie like this. And then inside this square brace, we put the name of the cookies, because when we create it, we make the name is user. Then to get it, we call the user cookies. Okay. And this is how to delete the cookies. It's similar with how to create. The difference is when for the cookies create, we define the time and we adding something here. And to delete it from the plus, we will change it with the minus sign. Okay. So this is the example. First, maybe I will try to call the cookies call. It will be showing error. Why? Because we are not define the cookies. So we need to define the cookies first. To define it, we can make it from here. Cookies create. I'm sorry. Cookies create. Why it's not showing something? I think it already said. Just like this, because it hasn't have any echo, so it won't showing anything. And I want to call it again. It will be showing the value of the cookies. And for delete it, we can using cookies del here. Okay. And we try to call it again because it's already deleted. So when we call the cookies again, it will be showing error. Okay, so that's about the cookies. Any question? No? Understand? No? Okay, I think you have understand with this. And the next part is about the session. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I will continue session. So session is one of the existing facilities in PHP to store temporary data into variables so that data can be accessed by user as long as the session variable is not left empty or deleted. So it's also similar with the cookies. The difference is the data storage. In cookies, we put it in the browser. So if we change, for example, I have add the shopping cart in my browser Chrome, for example. After this, I open again with Chrome in my headphone, because the data for the shopping cart is saved using cookies. So when I open it in another browser, it won't be shown in my handphone because the cookies just save in my browser in the computer. So that's cookies. But for the session, it will be saved in the server. Okay, in the server. So for example, in the browser, when I have the for example, I also have the shopping cart. By this shopping cart, I save it, but the shopping cart is in the form of the session, so it's saved in the server. When I open again in the handphone, because it's saved in the server, it still can be accessed because it still doesn't delete. It still doesn't delete from the server. Okay, so that is the first difference is the cookies in the browser and the session in the server. Session is relatively safer to use to store secret variable values such as username as password and login. So usually when we have a login page, usually our login data saved in the session, not in the cookies. But maybe for the some website, it also combine cookies and session. So for example, like I said before about the Facebook, when I open it again, because it's combined session and cookies, your login data can be still opened by the browser. Also, you have close the browser. For example, is the our e-learning. Maybe you have tried to access our e-learning form sometimes. So when it already 1 hour or maybe 2 hour there are no activity and the e-learning, it can close the session. So after the session is closed, you need to log in again in that e-learning. Okay, so usually session is using for storing something like login data. Okay, so this is the comparison of cookies and session. What's different is two of them, both of them can use for store information, and for the storage location, cookies in the client and session in the server. Two of them can be called. So after we save the data, we can also retrieve the data, and it also global. So we don't need something function to call it. And cookies can be called another time. So I'll already close the browser. When I open it again, it can still load. That's cookies. But for session, for some time, for example, in our e-learning, after some time, it will be delayed. So we cannot call the session again, but we need to make another session. For example, we need to log in again to make the session happen. And the cookies is browser restricted. So from one browser, I'm sorry, maybe in my home it's a little bit noisy. So for the browser restricted is in the cookies. So when we have many browser, it can be different cookies from one browser with the other browser. But for session is no. So for example, like I say before, if I already log in the one in the one browser and the session is still not expired, I can open it again in another browser, but with the same log account. And for cookies, it user editable. Why? Because it's saved in the browser. So you can change something in your browser, you can delete it. That's why cookies is user editable. But for session, it's not, because session is saved in the server. So the one who can edit it, who can change it, just the administrator of that server. This is how to make session in the okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I have another cookies. For here is the for shopping cart. Maybe I will give you this. I'm sorry. HTML. Okay, so this is using cookies. When I put something here, for example like this, and I buy here, it will be show my shopping cart, number of book 3, number of comic 1. Okay, so when I close it, for example, I close it, and I open it again, it still have the same value because the value that I have put still saved by the browser. Okay, so this is about the cookies. And how about the session? Okay, so this is the session. It's similar with the cookies. We also using something like this for the session. $_. The difference is we are using syntax session. Okay, this is session. And for session or cookies, we can give them name, right? So this is the name like this. And to give the value, we can using something like this, like we give a value for a variable. So the session have session name color, and the value is green, and the second session name is favorite animal, and the value is cat. And this is just to showing that the session variable are set. Okay, to call it, we can also use it like this, and we can also delete it. For delete it, we are using these two functions, session unset and session destroy. So for deleting the session, we don't need to define what the session name, because it will be delete all of the session. Okay, for example, I will open session call first. Session call like this. It will be showing error, and it doesn't have any value because I not define it first. So we need to create it first. So this here I have create the session. After that, okay, when I call it, it will show something that we have made before in the session. And after I delete it, like this, all of them have been removed. So when I call it again, it will be error because the session has been deleted. Any question? No?
None, ma'am.
Okay. So that is about cookies and session. Maybe you still confused what the difference. So you can also take a look in maybe YouTube or another sources, because it has many explanation about the different about cookies and server. Okay, so after this, you can try to make the session and cookies. Okay. We are using session in the login. For example, when we already login in the some web page, like in the previous practicum or previous part, like you see, I have from login in multi login, and I log out, and I don't log out, right? For example, multi login like this. For example, I log in as admin. After that, I not log out in here, but I want to log it again. Okay. like this, and I log in with another account, for example, case. Like you see here, I can log in the same time with the two accounts. The first is the admin and I not log out, and the second is the guest. I also not log out for this. Actually, when you have a project or you have the real system, it cannot be applying like this. You cannot apply like this because if someone have logged in, when we want to log in again, we must log out first. So when I log in as the admin, I must log out first, and then I log in again with another account. So for saving the login account or the data when what the data of the user when we are using login, we need a session. That's why in the next part, we will make login with the session. So application or session in the login feature. It's similar way we have before. So you don't need to change your login form like this. Maybe you just need to change the action. And here we will have session login process. The difference is when we check the username, we not only check the data, but we also make the session. So if the data have found, we make a session here, we start the session, and then we save the username and the status as login. So to know that this username has been logged into our project or our system. Okay, so we have to session variable username and the status is login. After that, we will redirect it to home section or to this page. Okay, and we also need to make session logout. Like we have before, we don't have logout. So here we also want to make a logout. When logout happen, our variable in the session will be destroyed. So the username and the status login will be uh, delayed from our session. Okay. So this is the step by step. The first we are doing login. We get the username. I'm sorry, this is the password here. After that, this input from username and password will be processed in the section login process. It's similar with we have before. When the data is found, we will start the session. We will save the session with the username and the status, and we will redirect it to the home or to the web page that we want. And in the web page, we still need to doing session start. Why? To getting know what the user that have been logged in. Who is the user that has been logged in? So in every page when we have login, for example, after login you can access home page or maybe profile page or and then maybe the database page or that page. If you have that three page and that three page has been accessed by using login, so in each of that web page you need to doing session start like this. Okay, so if I have two file, home and the profile, in the profile we also need to writing the session start too. It using to know this page must be accessed when you are logging only. Okay, and Here we add the link for logout. When we click logout, we will running the session logout file. Here we will start again. So we must start again to know what the user that have this session. After that, we will destroy it. And after that, we will showing that the user have logged out. Okay, this is the example. Login session form. Oh, I'm sorry. Session login form. Okay. Admin 1, 2, 3 like this. So it will be know that I'm admin. I still not trying to do this, but how about I open again this session login form. Okay. It also can be like this, but the first one already logged out. So this is okay. Okay, so that's the last part of our class today.